Senator Kissel.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to go on record as being in agreement with the remarks made by Senator Rohrabaugh earlier this afternoon. I've always enjoyed serving with Senator Daley, and I appreciate her responses regarding Senator Rohrabach's concerns about the fee increases. But without a doubt, that's sort of the real nuts and bolts of some of the concerns of many of my constituents. Whether they're hunters, whether they're professionals, no matter how they intersect with our state government, they understand that they pay fees and dollar amounts to the state of Connecticut. And whether Governor Rell herself has proposed this earlier or not, I think that in our striving for transparency, as Senator Rohrabaugh pointed out, that it would behoove us to have those figures here in front of us. And let me tell you why. Once upon a time, when I was lucky enough to be in the majority side of this circle, I served as the co-chair of the General Law Committee. Lucky enough, Senator McKinney was kind enough to put me back on that committee as one of the members this year. But as a member of the General Law Committee, we're always mindful of what kind of contracts are put before the public so that they can understand them. And when we have a budget like we have before us today, and just by oblique reference to these fee increases, I don't think that's the best way of doing business with the people of the state of Connecticut. If we were a business, and we were going to ask the public to sign on the dotted line, and oh, by the way, in Appendix A, there are all these millions and millions and millions of dollars of fee and permit increases. And by the way, that's not with us today, Mr. and Mrs. Connecticut, but you can access it online. I think that the General Law Committee would have a real problem with how that business conducted its relationship with the purchasing public. It may be 300 pages, but I think it would have been helpful to have it here today. At least trees are a renewable resource. And I think that that would be a way for the public to get their arms around exactly what we're debating. That being said, I do have three general areas of inquiry, and at the outset I would state that it was just last week that myself and my friend and colleague Representative Karen Jarmock from the House went and availed ourselves of a tour of the Carl Robinson Prison located in my hometown of Enfield, Connecticut. As you know, as the ranking senator on the Judiciary Committee, public safety issues are at the forefront of what we do. We've had certain problems in the past. I remember when I was first elected to office in 1993, there was a riot at Carl Robinson. I remember very distinctly. The facility was shut down. I was standing outside there with an individual who has since passed that I hold in the highest esteem, the late Chief State's Attorney Jack Bailey. And we were waiting for the CERT team to arrive. And for those of you not familiar, that's the Corrections Emergency Response Team. One of the facilities was burnt to the ground. The corrections officers were locked into their areas of security, and before that evening was over, 2 inmates were murdered. So when Karen and I toured that facility last week, those memories were still in the back of my mind, and it was important for the legislators that have correctional facilities to make sure that they're properly staffed, that we never go back to those bad days when riots like that occurred. And with the very brief indulgence of the President, I just want to extend my deepest condolences not only to Representative Karen Jarmock, but to my friend and colleague, former Representative Stephen Jarmock. His father passed away just at the end of last week. The funeral was this morning. Edwin Jarmock was an incredible individual in North Central Connecticut and in Enfield, and I just want Representative Karen Jarmock and former Representative Stephen Jarmock and their children, Owen, Grace, and Celia, to know that I'm thinking of them today.